Hi guys. This is a series of videos on the last section in Chapter 5 on Mars. In this section, we'll be taking a look at historical observations of Mars. Mars, of course, is the fifth brightest planet in the sky, and so people have been observing it for hundreds of thousands of years. So where to start is the issue, and we're going to start about 400 years ago. Certainly there were many ancient cultures that involved Mars in their mythology and as part of their culture, and they made observations of Mars. But we're going to set those aside and start with this gentleman, Galileo Galilei. He didn't build the very first telescope, but he was the first person who turned a telescope to the sky and wrote about it. You can see two examples of his early telescopes on the left-hand side. Their quality was very inferior to even what you would find in a department store telescope today, but he was one of the very first people doing it. And in fact, he had a pretty good job making telescopes on the side. People were willing to pay him pretty well to have telescopes for either for selling or for trade, or even for engaging in warfare, for example, and especially at sea. Galileo used his first telescope to look at the sky in 1610, and he saw a lot of interesting things on the moon. He saw a lot of interesting things on Jupiter. He even noticed one interesting thing about Saturn. He didn't see much on Mars, though. He certainly didn't see any surface objects on Mars. The resolution of his telescopes wasn't good enough. He couldn't see the moons of Jupiter. They're far too faint for him to see. So all he did was look at Mars. He did notice that Mars didn't appear to have phases, at least not any obvious phases. Really, about the only observation he made about Mars that might have been unique at the time is that Mars' angular diameter, in other words, Mars' size changed. It went from being bigger to smaller and bigger again. All of this makes a lot of sense if you put the sun at the center of the solar system as opposed to the Earth. And so it was one more piece of evidence suggesting that the sun really was at the center of the solar system.